right, before we go any further, I want you to know that I did think and really consider making this post, or not making it, I should say. And some things have happened recently that have forced my hand, and now I'm going to make it. That being said, I do want to throw a trigger warning out here that it's going to involve alleged SAs or sexual assaults within the Canadian Armed Forces. All right. And some other kind of nasty things. But at this juncture right now, we don't need to get into it. But stick with us because we are. Now, what I'm going to share with you are my experiences. This is my life on social media, okay? This is what I'm dealing with. And as you can see, it's two different stalkers. I have one, this dirt whizzal right up here, dragged him up from the depths of the interwebs, and he likes to cyber stalk my family. He collects and displays pictures of my children. He likes to tell me who his favorites are, stuff like that. An absolute creature of the depths, all right? And I've outed him, all right? I did some digging, talked to some people reached out to me, and I outed him. But believe it or not, it doesn't end here. I have yet another cyber stalker. And this is such a weird and sort of crazy rabbit hole that we're gonna go down. And it's kind of funny, rabbits don't actually live in holes, but that's what they call it. We're going to go down the rabbit hole. So buckle up, grab an energy drink, make some popcorn, because it's getting deep. All right, so back in the day, my last post in the Canadian Armed Forces was as an investigator with the Canadian Forces National Investigation Service. I was a master corporal at the time, and I was a qualified forensic interviewer. And one of the first things that I would always ask the subject of either my interview or my interrogation is to go back to the beginning. Tell me where this all starts for you. And that's where I'm going to take you. I'm going to take you all the way back to the beginning. All right. And hold on, because we're going back like over a decade. Check it. All right. So back all the way in 2011, I was promoted and posted to the Canadian Forces National Investigation Services. And I worked with another MP there. He was sort of senior to me in the NIS and sort of kind of guided me, but I followed along with all the files he had. And he was the lead investigator on the James Wilkes case. And for those of you who don't know, James Wilkes was and remains probably the most prolific sexual predator within the Canadian Armed Forces, all right? So the person I was working with, the MP that I was working with, this was their case. Now, as part of this case, I attended various victim interviews with that other MP. And of all the interviews that I attended, there was only one that I recall, that I'm aware of, that a charge of SA wasn't entered in for. And that was just from the ones that I had been around for. Okay, so only one of them wasn't listed in the charges. And that same person, 7 years later, would file a complaint with the Military Police Complaints Commission about myself, the MP I worked with, and another MP that was involved in that file. And that complaint would ultimately be deemed not substantiated. Now, the peculiar thing about all of this is that There's a statute of limitations of 6 months to lay an MPCC complaint. This particular person was granted an exemption from that 8 years after the fact, and it was deemed unsubstantiated, all right? Not founded. And now, despite those findings, that person appealed and again pursued a complaint against the MPs, including myself, involved in the file. And to this day, they are still pursuing action in this case, despite being told multiple times there's nothing. All right? Bear this in mind. We're about to dig a little deeper now. Now, as we dig deeper, this comment up here shows up in a TikTok post that I'm tagged in, and there's a photo of me. And often people know me as Nick Glad, even though that's not my real name. But for some people like this guy, it was for a long time, okay? Now, so this person says, this TikTok commando says he was 2 VP than MP. He was one of the shiz that dismissed all the sexual assault claims made by female members. He claimed to gone on to work with Blackwater and is now recruiting an army for Ukraine. Okay. No doubt was VP, then MP, but anyone have info on the scumbag? He investigated my sexual assault and dismissed it. P.O. Wilkes was later conducted, I'm assuming they're meaning convicted, of multiple sexual assaults and rapes. Anyone has information on him, I would like to know, given he is sporting Dirty Patricia. His name, Nick Glad. Dun, dun, dun. And before we go any further, I'll just clarify the lies and misinformation within this comment. I was 2 VP. I was 2 PPCLI, Delta Company. I was a rifleman with them and deployed as a rifleman to Bosnia and Croatia in 2003. Now, I've never claimed to have worked at Blackwater, but I definitely trained with them. And no, I'm not raising an army for the Ukraine. I did offer or try to get together a small group of people that were looking to go over to give them a bit of pre-deployment training. But no, I'm not looking to start an army. And the only person whose SA related to the Wilkes file that I dealt with, who was charges weren't referred in their case, was this person right here, my stalker. Who are they? They outed themselves. Check this shit. Now, in my post yesterday about this secondary stalker, I didn't reveal any identifying information. But what's funny is that the person who I believe this stalker to be, outs themselves as my stalker on their very own Facebook account. So who is this person? None other than Stephanie Kitching. They outed themselves, not me. Now, we're going to get a little deeper because we're going to find a relationship between these two people shortly. But I want to address some of the things that Kitching has said on their Facebook. And now I want to preface this with the fact that I blocked Kitching a few days ago from my TikTok. Yet they still managed to get on there and find this video and post it and talk about it. All right. So, again, she says that, I wasn't PPCLI. We've been over this. Delta Company, 2 PPCLI riflemen, 2002, 2003, Bosnia, Croatia, been there, done it. Now, they also say, Kitching also says that was never part of my investigation or file and is not the first time he's done this. Well, let's talk about that. So this is the cast of characters from their MPCC complaint. They had access to this. Not only that, I met with Kitching multiple times at the police station, in person at the police station in Thunder Bay, and I also met with them in person inside their home. So this idea that they have no cognizant memory of me is very untrue. And I'm also named directly in this MPCC report. They clearly know who I am. This is not a case of me merely popping up on their For You page. They've actually been following me for a significant amount of time, for a year and a half. They are the one who made this statement, who made this comment. Now, Kitching has also stalked my content and commented several times again about me. Here's a comment where she says, "You're not civil police, lawyer, or crown attorney, so don't sure buds me." Like, she's trying to downplay what military police can do. And then she also drops this one. "I can post case law of how MPs are not peace officers outside of the military." Talk about having a bone to pick. And clearly not just being happenstance on their FYP. They're actively commenting on my content. And now you might ask yourself, well, from what TikTok account did you discover this comment? What TikTok account tagged you in this post? So this statement reappears on a post from this creator, Royal50. Who is Royal50? Royal50 is this person right here, the same one that's been stalking my children on the internet for 2 years. This is my life. These are my experiences. And listen, if you're going to be on the internet, please be careful. Be prepared for what may happen. Because look at what I'm dealing with now. Simply because I've tried to share my story and tried to advocate for people like me with mental health issues, with addiction issues, with service issues, this kind of stuff. These two are the worst type of veterans to exist. Thanks for watching.